You don't need more time. You need more direction. Because the truth is, most people wake up, go through the motions, scroll through hours, complain about their circumstances, and then go to bed wishing life would magically get better. But here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't get better by accident. It gets better when you do. And the only way to change where you're headed is to change what you do today. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the right motivation, or someone to save them. They wait and waste years of potential hoping something outside of them will fix what's inside. But the ones who rise, the ones who build powerful, meaningful lives, they don't wait. They take ownership. They wake up, they look in the mirror, and they decide to improve themselves every single day. Not when they feel like it, not when it's easy, but especially when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's hard. Because if you do nothing, you stay the same. If you improve yourself daily, even in the smallest way, you become unrecognizable in just months. That's how change actually happens. That's how strength is built. It's not in the big decisions once a year. It's in the small ones you repeat every single morning, every hour when no one's watching. If you want to look back a year from now and feel proud of how far you've come, it starts with what you do today, not tomorrow. Today, one better thought, one stronger decision, one new discipline. Stack those on top of each other for 30, 60, 90 days, and your entire identity will shift, not because the world gave you more, but because you chose to become more. So stop waiting, stop blaming, stop wishing, start building, start moving, start improving every single day. The results will shock you. And when you look back, you won't just see progress. You'll see proof that you were never stuck. You were just one committed decision away from your next level. Chapter 1. Learn one new thing that makes you smarter. Every morning you have an opportunity. What if you used a small piece of that opportunity to learn something new? Something that makes you a little smarter, a little sharper, a little more aware. You don't have to tackle huge topics. Just one bit of extra knowledge each day. That simple decision resets your habits. It changes how your brain responds. It shifts your energy from drift to direction. When you learn one thing new, you expand your mind. Today, you learn a concept. Maybe it's a word, a line in a book, how a skill works, or a short article that challenges you. Pay attention to how your chest tightens when you discover insight. Notice the rush of curiosity, how your fingers move on the page, how your mind stays alert longer. That sensory connection deepens learning. And over time, those snapshots of growth start adding up. You don't need a fancy routine, you don't need hours, just a few focused minutes. Maybe it's 2 pages of a book, 5 minutes watching a tutorial, or listening to an idea in a podcast. As long as you're absorbing something valuable, you're building capacity. You're shifting from being stagnant to being invested in your own expansion. That low-effort habit triggers high reward. You stop being passive. You stop waiting for inspiration. You begin to cultivate curiosity. And curiosity is what shapes a learning mind. It makes you ask better questions, seek better people, challenge old beliefs, and keep your mental edge sharp. Without it, your mind gets dull. With it, you gain steady momentum. Every new idea you learn also becomes a tool. You begin to see what others miss. You can hold deeper conversations. You can respond with clarity instead of reaction. You can challenge a belief. You can push back, not arrogantly, but from awareness. That's what intelligence does. It informs your action. It prevents you from making mistakes you could have avoided. It guides you closer to what matters. Maybe you feel like knowledge is overwhelming, like there's too much to learn. That's normal, but learning one thing daily doesn't overwhelm. It builds discipline. It builds clarity, and it builds identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who knows more, who asks better, who keeps growing. That identity becomes stronger than motivation. You begin to chase being better rather than chasing results. Think about this. After 30 days of learning one thing, you'll be 30 steps ahead of where you would have been. And after 365 days, you'll have built a new version of yourself. Someone who doesn't freeze when faced with problems. someone who approaches life with more perspective, someone who doesn't panic under pressure because they've prepared mentally. Every small win in learning builds your confidence. You realize you're intelligent enough to grow. You trust your mind more. You remember you're capable. That trust is what fuels next steps. You don't just feel smarter, you feel competent. That feeling shapes how you show up. It shifts how others respond to you. It opens doors. Still, the habit often fails because people allow distractions. They dodge it because they say they are too tired or too busy. But growth doesn't require perfect moments. It requires commitment in imperfect ones. You choose to read during breakfast, listen on the commute, finish before bed. Those moments exist. You just turn them from scrolling time into learning time. When you learn something new, mention it, write it, explain it to someone else. That further cements it. Teaching is the final leg of learning. And you feel it, your mind clicks. You sense the clarity. That's how you turn knowledge into wisdom. You don't hoard insight, you share it. Others may listen, or they may not. But you stay curious, you stay engaged, and you stay grounded every day. You learn. The world becomes more doable. You see solutions instead of problems. You respond instead of react. You feel less tension because you know more. That knowledge builds faith, not just in your mind, but in your identity. You begin trusting your ability to adapt. You begin believing you are better than your starting point. That inner belief is what rewires your mindset. When challenges arise, and they will, you don't panic. You recall what you learned, you apply it, you choose action over immobilizing fear. That habit of learning makes you resilient. It turns pressure into possibility because you're not making it up in the moment. You've done the work ahead of time. Some days the new idea may feel trivial. That's okay. The power lies not in how big the lesson is. It lies in repeating the act of noticing something valuable and owning it. Over time, repetition builds identity. You begin to think of yourself as someone who grows. You begin to speak differently. You begin to act differently. That's when life begins to change, not because of luck, but because you decided to learn. So today, make a choice. Seek something that stretches you mentally. Write it down, reflect on it, use it. Carry it, let it sharpen your focus. And then tomorrow, do it again. Repeat personal growth daily until the act of learning becomes part of who you are. Someone who doesn't settle, someone who improves every day. That's how your mind rewires. That's how your life upgrades. That's how you start becoming someone you respect. Chapter 2, push yourself to do one hard thing daily. If you want real growth, comfort won't cut it. Growth happens when you do something hard every day, not once a week, not when you feel motivated daily. It could be a physical challenge, a mental stretch, or pushing through fear. Something that tests your limits a little. That one decision to choose discomfort over ease is how you prove to yourself that you matter more than your excuses. Picture waking up when the alarm buzzes at 5 a.m., your body heavy and your mind wanting to stay under the covers. That's the moment where most people quit before they start. But here's the power in pushing yourself up and out of bed anyway. You taste discipline. Your body feels the cold floor, your lungs find air, and your mind registers, I can follow through even when it's hard. That moment defines you more than anything else. It doesn't have to be massive. Maybe it's 10 push-ups, writing a tough email, making a call you've been avoiding, or finishing a task stacked in the corner of your desk. The point is simple. You stretch beyond comfort today, so tomorrow you can stretch farther. That tiny effort teaches your body and mind that resistance isn't a signal to stop, it's a signal to rise up stronger. When you build the habit of doing one hard thing, you dismantle your excuses. You stop relying on motivation. You stop waiting to feel ready. Instead, you act. You respect your commitments. You honor your own word. You become a person who leads the day instead of reacting to it. And that makes you stronger, longer lasting, more resilient in ways you don't notice at first, but they pay off in the next days and years. There will be days when you might want to quit mid-task. The temptation to rest or go easy feels stronger, but if you push through once, you build discipline. Twice, you build momentum. And by the third or fourth time, your mind quietly expects action. That expectation becomes mindset. You don't ask if you'll do it. You automatically begin. That shift is power. Not loud, quiet, consistent, unseen by others, but unmissed by you. And pushing yourself daily strengthens not just your body, but your character. You stop being someone who gives up when things get hard. You become someone who doesn't crumble with criticism or setbacks. You become someone who shows up because you've trained to show up. That builds self-trust. That builds leadership. That builds wisdom. This discipline also shapes your environment. You keep your workout clothes ready. You place the tools or notes in sight. You prepare the space. You minimize excuses. You plan ahead. You guard the time, because you know it's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about honoring your promise to yourself no matter what. Pushing through discomfort also teaches humility. It reminds you of limits and how to fold, and that keeps arrogance grounded, because when you feel the effort, you respect the process. You respect what it takes, and that humility leads to steady growth. You stop acting like you're done. You stay on the path. You don't slip into the mindset of "I've got this," only to get derailed by laziness or complacency. Imagine what your life becomes when you consistently push yourself. You wake up one day and see how far you've come, how much stronger you've become emotionally, mentally, physically. You notice the ease with which you talk about difficult tasks. You see the energy you carry into your presence. You witness the confidence you bring to decisions. You see a person transformed not by chance, but by purpose. Sure, pain and resistance show up every time, but those aren't just obstacles, they're evidence. Evidence you're doing the hard things. You're growing. You're moving forward. You're burning excuses and building character, and that character becomes your identity. That identity leads to reputation, and reputation leads to opportunity, all because you pushed yourself consistently when no one was watching. If you ever feel stuck, return to that feeling of effort. The tightness in your chest when you thought you couldn't. That feeling is pure progress. That rapid heart rate is your growth in motion. That subtle exhaustion is your discipline building. That's the evidence of a stronger version of you being forged. So today, pick one thing that's hard for you and do it. Set the alarm early. Write the message, make the call, finish the task. Go a little beyond today's capacity, and tomorrow repeat. And then again, doing one hard thing daily rewires your mind. It rewires your expectations. It strengthens your core. It fuels your progress. It shapes your character. That's how small decisions become unstoppable growth. That's how you become someone you respect. You are more powerful than your excuses. You are more capable than your comfort. And the only way to unlock your next level is to push through into it. Chapter 3, reflect on what you did right and what you can fix. You improve not only by doing, but by reflecting, studying what worked and what didn't. Every evening, take a moment to think about your day. Recall what you handled well, how you kept your word, showed up under pressure, or stayed calm. Then look at what didn't go as planned. Not to shame yourself, but to learn. Maybe your focus drifted. Maybe you skipped the hard task, or let distraction win. Look at it honestly. Ask yourself gently, what can I change tomorrow? How can I challenge comfort zones better? What system can I tweak so next time it's easier to stay on track? That method, honest reflection without judgment, is like repair and refine. You don't erase the error, you note it, learn from it, and course correct. That builds resilience, not disappointment. It teaches you self-awareness and self-improvement, not self-criticism. When you end your day this way, celebrating what you handled well and studying what could be stronger, you create a mindset that's always leveling up. You develop focus not only on tasks, but on your habits. You grow wiser about your actions. You stop repeating the same mistakes and build momentum through improvement. This reflection process becomes especially powerful when you track results. Use a journal or habit log for one sentence: what felt strong today and what needs work tomorrow. Write it, feel it, read it. Close your eyes and breathe. You don't need a long entry, just honest insight. That clarity becomes literal fuel the next morning, guiding your energy toward the highest priority. Over time, this reflective habit reprograms your mindset. You're not just reacting to life, you're steering yourself. You start catching errors earlier. You begin to notice when laziness creeps in or when energy drains. You adjust faster, you raise your bar. Reflection builds awareness. Awareness builds skill. Skill leads to consistent growth. You may worry that this is slow, it's not flashy, but you build depth. You build reliability. You become someone who corrects the path sooner, not later. Mistakes become feedback rather than guilt. Feedback becomes movement. Movement becomes progress. This is how champions sharpen themselves. Not by shrugging off error, but by using it. Not flawless, but flexible. You become someone who honors your effort, not because you're perfect, but because you seek better. That pursuit changes how your mind feels under pressure. You no longer freeze. You analyze. You respond. You grow. On days when you reflect without emotion, just facts, you train discipline. On days when you tune into how your energy shifted, you train intuition. On days when you look back and praise your effort, you train endurance. That trifecta rewires your mindset to improve daily, not through fire and abandon, but through repetition and awareness. And as improvement becomes your way of life, small errors don't derail you. You don't lose confidence after one misstep. You clarify tomorrow's plan instead. You protect your identity as someone who learns, not someone defeated by setbacks. That identity carries weight when motivation fades. That consistency with reflection fuels deep change. If you track this for a month, you'll begin to see patterns. You'll see where energy dips. You'll see what triggers distraction. You'll notice 10-minute routines you skip more often than others. You'll catch where your strength lies and where you pause. You connect with your progress in real time, and that connection anchors new habits quicker than blind discipline alone. So reflect tonight. Consider what you executed well. Acknowledge the one task you did when you didn't feel like it. Gently examine where your focus slipped. Plan one small shift for tomorrow. Set that intention. Hold it as the reason you breathe tomorrow morning. That's how daily improvement works. Not because life changes first, but because you change first. This isn't added pressure, it's empowerment. You track your growth, not your failures. You sharpen awareness, not worry. And over time, you outgrow excuses, drift, and stagnation. You become someone whose life reflects daily decisions, not careless drift. You get stronger not by accident, but by design. And reflection is the blueprint. Chapter 4, cut one bad habit and replace it with a better one. Changing yourself doesn't mean becoming perfect overnight. It means recognizing one bad habit that's holding you back and replacing it with a habit that moves you forward. Not with force, but with intention. Not with guilt, but with clarity. Choose one habit to cut: the scroll before bed, the negative self-talk, the unhealthy snacks, the idle complaint. Then choose a replacement habit. Read 2 pages, speak kindly to yourself, eat one healthy thing, pause and breathe. This daily swap rewires your choices and over time your identity. When you decide to stop a habit like scrolling through distractions instead of sleeping, you face sensory resistance, your eyes strain, your mind wants escape, your thumb wants movement. Recognize that discomfort, then swivel towards your replacement habit. Pick up a book, turn off the screen, feel the cool pages, smell the paper, notice the quiet. That simple trade feels lighter than regret later. It reminds your brain, I choose control over noise. Replace habits gradually. Don't cut everything at once. Pick one and focus there. When you stop complaining, replace it with gratitude. When you stop avoiding workouts, replace it with movement, even just 5 minutes of stretching. When you stop justifying delay, replace it with action, even a short task done immediately. That's how your brain learns, removing one pattern and inserting a better one. Each time you do the better habit instead of the old one, your focus sharpens. You become someone who solves problems, not someone who drifts past them. You become someone who values your time and energy. You reinforce a personal standard higher than old comforts. That standard becomes part of who you are. Tracking your progress helps make a small mark when you replace the habit. Notice how your breath feels. Notice what thoughts arise. Notice the calm instead of the guilt. Over days, you build momentum, not by perfection, but by recompense. You begin trusting your ability to change, not by force, but by choice. The world may not celebrate the change. People may ask why you're distant from certain routines or conversations, and that's fine. You don't need to justify your growth. The person you're becoming already understands why you made the cut, and you know you traded it for something more valuable. Presence, integrity, clarity. When your mind feels scattered, you do the replacement habit. When your body craves junk, you swap in nourishment. When your energy dims, you replace lethargy with motion. That chain of daily choices builds self-respect. You prove to yourself again and again that you're in charge of your actions, not your impulses. After a week, you'll notice fewer temptations. After a month, the bad habit starts to feel uncomfortable. That's when identity shifts. You think of yourself as someone who doesn't do that anymore. You think of yourself as someone who only does constructive things. That transformation goes deeper than surface discipline. It rewires how you see yourself, and that's lasting change. When challenges return, you don't fall back into old patterns, you pivot, because you've trained yourself to pivot. A few seconds of pause and the new habit steps in. That pause becomes power, and your life begins to align with the person you respect more than the routine you used to follow. You don't have to fix everything. Just one clear swap, and repeat until your brain stops asking and starts expecting better. Until your body moves toward what builds strength. Until your mind filters out what drains focus. That's how you improve. Not with dramatic overhaul, but with intentional replacement daily. Own that power. One habit at a time. Replace with purpose. And watch your life reflect the person you decided to be every moment. It's not just about cutting something toxic. It's about investing in something that matters. And doing it with awareness, discipline, and clarity. Chapter 5, stay consistent even when it's boring or tough. Consistency is where real progress hides. It's easy to stay committed when everything feels exciting. But most growth isn't born in excitement. It's born in showing up when it doesn't feel good. It's built in repetition, not because the task is thrilling, but because you made a promise to yourself and kept it day after day. You will face days where energy dips, days where boredom settles in, days where results feel invisible and effort feels pointless. That's where character is forged, not when things are fun, but when they feel flat. You keep your mind on mission, you go through the motions, and slowly but surely those motions become muscle memory. That's how improvement becomes habit, not hope. Stick to your plans even when distractions call, even when your mind says, maybe take a break. Those moments test your self-trust. If you cave early, you weaken that trust. When you stay steady, even when it's dull, you build a frame. I keep my word, I follow through. I find value in discipline, not just results. That frame is what shapes your future, not motivation, but consistency. Consistency doesn't mean chaos either. It means structure. It means daily rules. These rules become anchors when life swirls. They keep your hours aligned with your values. You don't wake and search for direction. You wake and apply purpose. You don't wait to feel productive. You act with intention. You don't crumble under impulse. You choose stability because it honors who you're becoming. When results feel slow, you still show up. You remind yourself what's more important, chasing instant validation or building reliable habits. Years from now, you won't remember how fast you improved. You will remember that you never quit. That's what molds mental toughness. That's what distinguishes between people who started well and those who finished stronger. You may be tempted to skip days. That's normal. But you decide not to. You take responsibility. You reflect, did I honor my rules today? Yes or no? And even if the answer is no, you return tomorrow with clarity, not guilt. You correct course quickly. That quick correction is more powerful than perfection. Daily consistency with accountability beats occasional greatness. Over time, you stop needing a spotlight. You no longer rely on praise to feel accomplished. You begin to operate from inner validation. You show up because of respect for your own growth, not for applause, not for rush, but for progress. And that is a form of strength that nobody can take away. It belongs to you. Consistency transforms identity. When you remain steady under distraction, you begin thinking of yourself as someone dependable. When you honor small daily actions, you become reliable. And when you know you can be trusted with small things, you expand your capacity to handle bigger things. That builds momentum, not just in your habits, but in your future. So anchor yourself with simple discipline. Stay faithful to your decisions even when they don't thrill you, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody notices. That's where transformation lives. That's how you move from average to elevated, not through fleeting bursts, but through steady commitment. Your mind learns through repetition. Your body learns through resilience. Your outcomes reflect alignment more than effort, but alignment only lasts when effort keeps showing up, and effort shows up when your phrase becomes, I show up, as your future self is counting on who you decide to be today. Consistency doesn't lie. It can't be faked. It builds confidence. It builds courage. It builds proof. And over time, proof becomes progress. Progress becomes change, and change becomes identity. That identity becomes unshakable. So make consistency your ally. Trust your quiet daily efforts more than your emotional peaks. Know that when you stay consistent, especially on boring days, you are choosing growth over comfort. You're proving you can trust yourself. And eventually that consistency becomes something so strong, people don't recognize you because they didn't know the strength behind small daily actions. That's how you genuinely improve every day. Ordinary days intentionally lived. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to get better than you were yesterday. One improvement at a time. Small steps done consistently create unstoppable momentum. So start now. Keep going and don't stop. Your future self is already thanking you.